Hello all. So welcome back to my channel. So if you are looking as your next Power Apps interview, you have clicked the right video. So in today's episode, we will deep dive into the some essential interview question that will revolve around the solutions, source control, and the deployment into the Power Apps. So whether you are a beginner or have some experience under your belt, we will provide you with key insight and practical answers that will help you to stand out. So from understanding the app solutions to mastering the source control and the deployment strategies, we will cover it all. And plus, I will also share some tips on how to articulate your knowledge effectively during the interview. So grab a notebook and let's get started. And at last, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you never miss an update. So let's jump right in. So here the first question is, what is solution in the Power Apps and why it is important? So a solution in Power Apps is a package that contains the multiple components like apps, flows, entities or the plugins. And it basically helps in organizing and managing all the assets that are required for the project in one place. So whatever components required for the deployment of the project, so that all we can keep make a zip and we can just store into the solutions. So solutions are the critical for the versioning, deploying and maintaining the environmental systematically. What is the different type of solutions in the Power Platform? So there are basically two types of solution we can create. One is the managed and second one is the unmanaged solution. So managed solutions are those that are used into the production environment where the components cannot be modified once we complete the deployment. And unmanaged solutions are those that are created during the development time and it allows changes to be made. Next question is, what is the difference between a managed and unmanaged solution? So as we understand earlier, an unmanaged solution is editable and that is typically used into the development environment. And managed solutions are those solutions that are not editable. It is basically remains in the log position and that are used into the production environment. And you cannot do any change in the component in the managed solution. How do you export a solution from the Power Apps? So for exporting the solution into the Power Apps, you first navigate to the Power Apps environment. Then you need to select the solutions and whichever solution you want to export, you need to select that solution. And then there is a button export, you need to click on the export and whatever prompts is coming in front of you like unmanaged, managed, that thing you need to select there. Next question is, what component can be included into a Power App solution? So interviewer want to understand whatever component we can include into the Power App solution. So in the Power App solution, we can include all the components that are related to that particular app. That can be flow, that can be tables, forms, views, charts, that can be dashboard, or if we are using any plugin, then that should be also a part of the solution. Okay, so whenever the solution get ready, and we can export that solution and we can deploy into the production, so that we cannot do external deployment for this. Can you explain the concept of solution layer in the Power Platform? So solution layer is nothing but basically it allows developers to apply the changes over the existing solution. So we have created the solution and we need to make the changes continuously in that solution. So every time a solution is imported, a new layer is added and the system keeps track of which solution made which changes. So basically it's a very good feature solution that of the Power Platform and it basically keeps all the track whenever you are making any change in that particular solution. How the solution layering lead to issues? And how do you troubleshoot? So here the interviewer want to know means suppose any issue came out into the solution layering situation, okay, then what do you will do to troubleshoot that one? So in that case, conflicting changes from the multiple solutions can cause the error. And for troubleshooting these things, you require to examine the solution layers one by one and possibly roll back and reordering the layers to resolve the conflicts. How do you handle dependencies when working with solution in the Power Apps? So if we are creating any app, so definitely there will be some dependency. So interviewer want to understand means how you will handle your dependency. So dependencies can occur when one component depend on the another. So before deleting or modifying a component, it is important to check for any dependency using the solution checker. So for checking the dependency, you can use the solution checker, or you can just review the component and about their relationship with the other component. What is solution checker in the Power Apps? So solution checker is nothing but a tool that analyze the solutions for the common issues and the best practice violation. So it will also suggest the best practice and it will help you to identify the performance, maintainability or the security concern into your Power Apps of solutions. How do you patch or update a solution into the Power App? So suppose you have created a solution, okay. So now interviewer want to know if there is any change happening, how you will patch or update that solution. So to update a solution, you need to export the unmanaged solution first, right? And after that, whatever changes are required, you need to make the change again, okay, and import it back as a managed or unmanaged solution. So for update in the production, a managed solution is updated typically used. What is solution segmentation in Power Apps? So solution segmentation allow you to export only certain component of the solution. It will not export all the component of the solution. It will export only the particular component of the solution. And it is useful when you need to transfer only a specific part of a solution, such as selected apps or the tables. How do you manage the versioning in the Power App solution? So solution versioning is basically managed using the version number property, and that comes into the setting part of the solution. And if it keep incremented, okay, so incrementing version numbers helps keep track of different releases and updates. So from the version you can identify whatever changes has been made, and accordingly you can, if you want, you can restore that particular version. What are some best practice for organizing solution in the Power Apps? So the best practice will be you should organize by using the business functions or a meaningful naming convention you can follow. You can segregate on the base of that environment like development, testing and the production. These three environment we basically use, and always keep the solution under the source control. How does a solution upgrade work in the Power Apps? So solution upgrade basically allow you to import a newer version of a solution into your environment, and the upgrade process manages whatever changes happen to that component while preserving any customization that are made by the organizations. Can you merge multiple solutions in the Power Apps? Good question. So solutions cannot be directly merged, but yeah, you can manually combine the components from different solution into a new solution. Means basically that is a workaround, right? What are the steps involved into deploying a Power App solution? So to deploy the Power App solution, we need to first package the solution, then export it from the development environment and import into the target environment. And if any environment specific setting is required to configure, then we need to configure that one. And after deployment, we need to do the testing. How do you automate solution deployment into the Power Apps? So deployment can be automated using the PowerShell or Azure DevOps pipeline. So there are two approaches for the automation of the deployment, either PowerShell or Azure DevOps pipeline. So in this case, Power Platform provides a specific command and build tasks to automate the export, import, and upgrade the solutions across all the environment. What are the environment variable in the Power Apps and how do they affect the deployment? So environment variable basically store the configuration data that differ across the environment. Here environment means development, testing, and the production. So it may happen that for some environment variable in the development it will be the different value, in the testing environment it will be a different value. So for that we create the environment variable and we don't need to make the change in the code, and only on the making the change at the environment variable level we will be able to achieve that one. And it allow you to adjust the settings such as connection string or the API key without modifying the solution itself. How do you deploy the changes without affecting users in the production? Means you need to deploy some components into the Power Apps and that is already in the production, but you don't want to affect the users. So for that what you will do? So first thing you need to deploy all the changes during the off-peak hours, means when business is not working or client is not working, and you need to use the feature logs to roll out the changes incrementally, or you can utilize the environment variable to test components before fully deploying them. What is ALM? ALM is the application life management in the context of Power Apps deployment. So ALM refer to the complete life cycle of the managing applications from the development, then testing, then maintenance. So Power Apps support ALM through solutions, source control, and environment management. How do you handle environment specific configuration during deployment? So environment specific settings can be handled using the environment variable, and that basically allow the solution to adopt the different environments without requiring the manual configuration changes. So automatically whenever your solution will move in the one environment to another environment, it will automatically pick that configuration changes. Can we explain the concept of pipeline in the Power Platform for the deployment? So pipelines are basically a part of the Power Platform ALM capability, and it enables the automated deployment of the solution across the different environment. And it also manages the consistency and reduce the human error during the deployment. How do you ensure that deployment is successful? So for ensuring that deployment is successful, you need to test the solution in the sandbox or the test environment before deploying that into the production. And you need to monitor the deployment logs, and you also need to use the solution checker to identify the potential issue whatever they are. What is the role of Dataverse in the Power Apps deployment? Dataverse act as a underlying data storage and management layer for the Power Apps. When you are deploying the apps that use the Dataverse, the tables and the data structure must be a part of the solution. How do you handle updates to Dataverse table during the deployment? So Dataverse table can be modified through solution imports, and the careful planning is definitely required to avoid the overwriting on the existing data and breaking the relationship between the view tables. What is Power Platform build tools and how do you use them for the deployment? So Power Platform build tools are used into the Azure DevOps to automate the solution deployment, and it allows basically the developers to export, import and manage the solutions, and it can also manage the environment and check the solution quality. How do you roll back a deployment into the Power Apps? So suppose you deployed some component into the production and some failure happen into the production. So you want to roll back that part. So how you will do? So you can roll back by importing an earlier version of the solution or re-importing the previous managed solutions. That's why you should always maintain the backup of the solution so that you can import that thing whenever it's required. How do you validate a PowerApps deployment into a new environment? So after deployment, you need to validate by running key test cases, checking that environment variables that are configured correctly, and ensuring that all the apps and the flow are functioning as expected. How do you deploy the PowerApps to multiple regions? So PowerApps can be deployed to the different environments that represent basically the regions. And this can be automated with the help of the pipeline and the environment variables. How do you test a Power App deployment before it goes live? So for testing that Power App deployment, you need to use the sandbox environment that simulate similar to the production scenario. Okay, and you need to conduct the user acceptance testing, that is also known as a UAT, and you need to validate the solution behavior in a near production setting. Near production setting means similar to the production setting. What are the deployment strategies in the Power Apps? So definitely whenever we are going to deploy any component, there should be a deployment strategy. So in this case, deployment strategy should include the phase-based rollout where the changes are gradually introduced, and the big bang deployment where all the objects are applied at once. So a phase approach is generally preferred for the minimal risk. How do you ensure the app resilience after deployment into the Power Apps? So for that you need to monitor the app performance post deployment, implement the error handling in the apps and flows, and set up the alerts for critical issues like failed flow or the API error. How can deployment failure be troubleshooted in the Power Apps? So for that case, you need to review the deployment logs, whatever created. You need to check the solution layer orders. You need to validate the environment variables, and also you need to use the solution checker that diagnose the potential issues. What is the source control and why is it important to the Power Apps deployment development? So source control is the practice of tracking and managing the changes to the code or solution time by time. So in Power Apps, it basically ensures the versioning, collaboration, and the traceability of the changes. That is especially when multiple developers are involved. So earlier in the Power Apps, there was only one developer can work at a time, but now the source control has been integrated with the Power Apps. So there can be multiple developers can work at the same time. How do you implement the source control into the Power Apps? So Power App solution can be exported as a zip file or stored into a source control systems like Git. So changes to these files can be tracked and branches can be created for the different versions. How do you version control Power Apps component like apps and flows? So versioning is managed through the solutions, and the exported solution are stored into the Git or any other version control system. That will allow the developers to track and merge the changes, whatever new changes they have done. Can Power Apps be directly linked to a source control system like GitHub? Yeah. So Power Apps itself does not have native integration with the GitHub for direct source control, but yeah, solution can be manually exported and tracked using the GitHub or the Azure repos. What are the challenges of managing source control with the Power Apps? So Power Apps component are not text-based files. That's why it making it difficult to merge the changes automatically. So manual management of the solution is often required to avoid that conflicts. How do you resolve the conflict into the Power Apps using the source control? So conflict into the Power Apps are often resolved manually by reapplying the changes into the environment, testing, and ensuring the correct version is applied before importing a solution. What is the Power App Solution Packager tool and how does it aid into the solution source control? So the solution packager tool breaks down a solution into individual components like XML files and it allowing them to more easily manage and track into a source. So thanks friend for watching this video and I am hoping that it will be definitely give a great benefit for you. So if you enjoyed this video, so don't forget to hit a like button and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. And your engagement is definitely helping us to grow and creating more exciting video for you. So I will appreciate each and every one of our subscriber. So until next time, take care and goodbye. Thank you.